Hey, I think we're here.
Yay! We finally came back. Woo!
And
Got our techie text.
everything's working. Knock on wood.
Oh, your camera still wants to pixelate when you move a bunch.
Well, I can't help that. It is what it is, and it's
Yeah.
because this program. Unless I want to pay even more money than I already do for this program,
It's bandwidth, isn't
I
it?
can't go in HD. So we're
Yeah.
limited to the
Yeah, it can't. The bandwidth can't keep up with you.
yeah. So
That makes sense. No, you're very recognizable.
not too blurry.
Not too blurry. Just don't dive around the screen too much. Don't
Yeah.
break out in your fairy self and
Yeah.
you're doing good. That was the only
So
thing we didn't get to
hopefully
cover.
people are tuning in, and we need you to tell us you're here to make sure that I didn't screw this up.
That's true. Let us know you can hear us. Type in the chat room or in the comments section. As you can see, our names on the screen. I am Margot. That is Iris. She is Iris. And we are Eyes of Indigo.
Yeah, it's like, what are we called?
I was going to say, well, pick a name. In this lifetime, this show is known as Eyes of Indigo. And we discuss weird weird stuff in a rational way is our specialty since September of 2020. So welcome back to any of our regulars. And if you are new to the show, hi, welcome to the channel. If you'd like to learn more about where Iris and I get our credentials, our background, what led us here, go back to the very first show called The Prequel, September of 2020. Excuse me. And you can see 30 minutes of what our backgrounds were, what our educations are, credentials, and learn more about us that way. Iris and I are working soon on indexing all the topics that we've covered over the past almost 2 years. And eventually we'll make it easier for people to do research, including us, on what we've already covered and talked about. Because lots of times we end up referring back to topics in part that we covered completely in a previous show. So that will help us as well, help you.
And we don't want to, I mean, it doesn't mean that we can't talk about or refer to other programs and revisit issues we've done before, but it's just helpful to enhance with previous conversations. Hello, Heather! Yay! So we are coming through, and she's on Facebook.
Yay. Facebook. All right. So Facebook's here. Hopefully somebody shows up on YouTube sooner or later to help us out here. So, Iris, tonight, what is our topic?
Our topic tonight is debt at the Bank of Karma, taking account of interest rates, deposits, and withdrawals. Everybody talks about their karmic debt or having karma. And so we wanted to kind of explore what it is and what happens if you do something or somebody else does something. And it's like, why doesn't anything bad happen to them? Because they're always doing bad stuff to me. Well, there's a little more to it than that.
It depends on what you signed up for and what they signed up for and what you choose to do next.
Yes.
And what they choose to do next, which you don't have control over because it's not your responsibility. But that's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah. Well, sort of. Or part of tonight's discussion.
Sort of.
Yeah. And of course, as usual, I found some funnies to share.
Oh, please. I'm sure that there's some serious karma silliness out there.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, did you hear about the new restaurant called Karma? There's no menu. You get what you deserve.
That's good.
I thought it was good. I couldn't.
That's a good one.
I like. Let me hide that. There we go. This is a good visual representation. Hi, Nicole. How are you?
Hi, Nicole. Nicole does weekly Monday night drumming circles with
Ooh,
me here at Sunset. She lives in Sunset Beach too. We found out we live only 4 or 5 blocks apart.
nice.
And after 10 years of being here, and which is funny. But she and I lead the Sunset Beach Drum Circle, 6:30, open to the public, free, loaner drums, no experience necessary, professionals welcome. There's your plug,
Yay.
Nicole. Thank
Um,
you for being here, sweetie.
this is just a good visualization of karma.
Oh, yes. And it comes back around and
It's like the
smack
guy
you
sitting in the middle of dominoes and he pushes one side and it's going to come back and smack him upside the head soon
all of
enough.
them. It's circling around to he'll be the last one and the last domino will fall on him. Yeah.
Yeah, which I thought that was pretty ingenious.
That's pretty clear.
Yeah, yeah. I'll show you one more, and then we'll go to the conversation, and then I'll throw some more in later. I I like well, God, which one do I want to show? This one's just too damn funny. It's
You want
it's
to read
called
it?
Karma, and it's pronounced "ha ha fuck you."
All right, that one deserves.
And
It's pronounced. Oh, fuck you.
so I think I have to remember that from now on. When
Oh
are
my
you experiencing
god!
karma? Fuck you.
We need T-shirts, man. That was awesome. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I knew a girl who was a reader
Mhm.
um for the public, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes at metaphysical shops, and that's how we met because sometimes we'd read at the same time
Mhm.
eons ago. And she changed her name to a spiritual name, and she calls herself Karma. And she's a very dramatic person. And yeah,
Wow.
she is. It fit really well because she was a very emotional and dramatic person. And I was like, that would be an awesome T-shirt for her.
I am karma.
I am Karma. It's pronounced "fuck you." Ha ha. Oh my
Interesting.
gosh, that just popped in my head.
Okay. Well,
Karma, if you ever hear that, I laugh with the most respect.
yeah, yeah.
She could laugh at herself. She was cool.
I'll do respect karma.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that gesture. That's a good one. Props to the queen. We got
Yeah. Love and peace,
Absolutely.
Don't piss off
Absolutely.
the karma. It'll hit you back so
Yeah, I
hard.
was gonna say that's a
Uh,
good cancel delete. But anyway,
yeah. So,
sign language.
so looking at what karma act is,
Yes.
there's definitions that abound, and so I just found kind of a fairly neutral one actually in Wikipedia. And actually, did you know that Wikipedia has proven to be um, more accurate than the Encyclopedia Britannica? A lot of people
I would
laugh
think
at
so
Wikipedia.
because it's a reflection of the collective, which means it is an Akashic record, which means it's all truth.
Yeah.
But that's kind of vague reasoning, but it follows that reasoning as well.
But
That makes
educators will
sense.
still say, don't use Wikipedia. But Wikipedia has lots of references in it. So I
When
always told my
Encyclopedia
students,
Britannica came out, they said, "Don't use that. It's a brand new one. They don't know what they're talking about." That
well,
happens to everything.
when I taught writing to students, I would, hey, Sherry, when I would teach
We're-
classes in writing, I would
yeah.
say, your professors are going to tell you not to use Wikipedia. But go to Wikipedia, and at the bottom there are references. Go to those references and use that information.
Mhm.
Because that,
Don't reinvent the wheel.
yeah, yeah. But anyway, so karma it means action, work, or deed. And for believers in spirituality, i.e., us, The term also refers to the principle of cause and effect, often descriptively called the principle of karma, wherein intent and actions of an individual cause or influence the future of that individual, the effect. Good intent and good deeds contribute to good karma and happier rebirths, while bad intent and bad deeds contribute to bad karma and bad rebirths. It's
Or difficult life. Yeah. Bad
Yeah,
karma equaling a difficult life. Right.
yeah, and just also, because we are developing into a new level of spirituality,
Hmm.
recognizing that we can reserve the judgment of good and bad. That's a 3D.
And tap into a 5D awareness, which is a
Hmm.
higher vibration, much more close to spirit's awareness or God's awareness or the infinite divine's awareness, whatever word you like using.
I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of people toss hell around like it's a karmic thing, and it doesn't exist. Not
Well, it doesn't exist for people like you and I, but
for
for people that think it's real, it exists for them.
that's yeah.
Remember,
On
you make your own reality on this side and on that side.
That's true, and on
Yeah.
some level, but I think they'll be
I think they'll be
surprised.
pleasantly surprised that it's not exactly what they thought it was.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the hellfire and brimstone and skeletons running around and da, 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 da. I mean,
And all that
unless you
fun stuff.
admit that for yourself, and that's where you want to remain stuck. But and a lot of people do set up these realities that they think that they deserve. It's called
True. And
forgiveness.
then there are people that subscribe to a darker belief system that we typically call, let's throw it out there, satanic belief systems and so on, that such things as eternal pain and excitement, and damage and skeletons and fire and fangs and all that, claws, attract them. To them, that's appealing. That justifies their existence. I can't completely understand it myself, but from what I can observe, the adrenaline rush, and in their cultural belief system, it's validated to undergo those kinds of stressors
What's
all the
funny is
time.
you talk about adrenaline rush and stuff, and then you worship that so that you can live in that adrenaline rush, and it's like, but when you die, you don't have the physical adrenaline anymore. It's like that ain't gonna work.
That's probably because they're promised something else when they're on the other side, just like good people are promised eternal peace and happiness on the other side when they go to the stereotypical heaven. Well,
Yeah,
what generates that? How do we experience peace and contentment and fullness and lack of pain when you can't feel anything if you don't have a body, good or bad? So
yeah.
what is heaven? So what is hell if we don't have a physical body? So there's got to be a next. We're going into another topic altogether.
Yes. So,
What
but
is heaven or hell on
but
the other
spirit is
side?
I consider heaven or hell a right here, right now kind of thing. And yes, that's not
That's
an
another good interpretation.
yeah.
Yes. Hi,
And
Ken.
Heather says I've always said everyone will be surprised. Yeah, everyone will.
Uh huh.
Because we don't.
Even if you think you know,
Yeah,
you're
and
there. Next level shit's gonna come at you.
And
It's
Ken,
awesome.
welcome. It's good to see you.
A
And
good,
he
yeah.
says trauma addiction is a thing. Truly, yes.
Boom. There's the other class of people that Iris actually referred to. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. But
Uh,
anyway, so karma. You have that bad boss, and they're always doing crap and on your butt all the time, or micromanaging, or whatever,
Pushing
embarrass
your
you.
buttons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then they say and they do something that just is totally tragic, or you feel like you've just been
Targeted.
targeted. Yeah, and it's like you think, I'll just let karma handle it. I just can't take it anymore. Karma's going to get them. And that's okay. But it's also an issue of looking at that situation and looking at what you could learn from that for yourself. I could stand up for myself. Why am I not standing up for myself? Why am I remaining in a situation where I'm constantly being taunted? I remember I was going to therapy. This was years ago. And it was about other stuff that was happening in my life that I was just trying to going through divorce and that sort of stuff. But when I was working for a newspaper and the pay sucked, even for back then, it was just so bad for a professional job, and it was just so
You had
bad.
to really love what you were doing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I did, but then
Mm-hmm.
I had gotten a new boss who was just horrendous. And my therapist said, that's abuse, don't you? Not only is he verbally abusing you, the pay that they're giving you is abusive and an insult. And I went, I never thought about that. It just, and then it's like, duh, ding, 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 ding. If you let people take advantage of you, guess what?
They will.
They will. And so that
because you gave them permission. Yeah.
Yeah. And so when stuff like that's going on, you have to realize I have to take care of me because obviously nobody else is going to. And you thank them for the lesson and you move on and you can forgive them the karma if you really want to be big about it. And it's amazing how when you release them of their karmic debt for what they've done to you, how much peaceful you are. That benefits you more than it benefits them.
And you're describing a forgiveness process that I think we're basically using the words karma and forgiveness almost interchangeably here at this point in the conversation. Does that ring true for what you're describing?
It very much is. It's very connected because, we can say, well, one of these days you're going to get what you deserve. And maybe so, but wouldn't it be nice to calm your own soul by being able to release that karmic debt?
By choice, free will choice, not be forced into dealing with karma. That'd be awesome.
And allowing that person to be released of it. That, thank you for, in your head, you don't go up to them and go, thank you for being an asshole to me. You've taught me a really good lesson. But hell, you could if
your
you wanted,
enemies are your biggest teachers. And that's what you're describing. Yeah.
But you acknowledge the lesson and you say, thank you for that. And I would like to release this person of any karmic debt. Because we can't judge, we can't decide what that karmic debt is going to be.
So one of my questions that I mentioned right before we went on the air is, when you say that stuff, who are you talking to? Can you clarify that for us?
Creator, God.
So you're saying,
the source.
So tell us more. You're talking in meditation. You're talking while you're driving the car. You're talking in a dream state or a self-hypnosis. Can you tell us more?
Yes, to all of those. There have been times, and I guess it would be fair to say that when I've done that, even just now talking about it, I get quiet and I'm thinking inside and I'm thinking of other scenarios where, have I done that for that person yet? No. There it goes. I'm sending that out, because it's time to release
by
it.
Intention. By intention. Just,
yeah. And it's like, so I know that I'm putting that energy out there, both
through
verbally
thought
and in thought.
And verbally. Okay.
Yeah. And if I'm at my house by myself and, and I'm thinking about a situation that's bothering me and I realize, and I start really thinking on it and I'm like, okay, show me what am I missing here? Why is this bothering me so much? Why? I'll kind of just immediately go into a meditative state. And because it happens more instantaneously because I've done it so many times deliberately that now it just happens. I don't have to really think, okay, I'm going to go into meditation now. I can just kind of, I've done it so much, I can just do it instantaneously. Um, but I'll just kind of go, show me, and then I'll go, oh, God, I can't believe I missed that one, and
Yeah,
and
just
I
simply ask, show me.
show
Yeah,
me,
just say,
and
show me.
and
But let go of the outcome. When you say show me, let go of any preconceived notions. Right.
exactly, what is the lesson? What have I missed here?
What is the
It,
lesson?
it and that it'll come in, and I'll see. Ah, yeah, that's a good lesson. I will remember that. Thank you very much.
It requires you to be very, very honest and authentic
Yeah,
with yourself. These private conversations in your head.
in my
Yeah,
head, and
no,
then
no
a lot of
BSing,
times
no
I'll
blaming other
verbalize it.
people.
My dog
Right.
looks at me like, "Who are you talking to?" And I'm like, "Don't worry, dude."
You're cool. We're cool. But you can't blame other people. You can't say, yeah, but something else precipitated this. I was trying to justify, justify, justify. You can't do that. You have to be very authentic and own the whole process yourself.
Oh, that gives me goosebumps because today it was getting toward the end of my work time, and I realized I do a weekly newsletter for our department. And I work part time for a community college, helping people find jobs, and we do a weekly newsletter called Working Wednesdays, and it usually either highlights a local business or every other week I write some sort of material that covers behaviors at work and job interview tips and things like that. And today I was like, oh crap, I got to do that and I need to get it out because it was getting toward the end of the day. And I was like, what do I need to write on? And you just said what I wrote on: blaming other people and not accepting responsibility.
Yeah.
And I used examples of like the person who says, well, I had to quit school because that teacher kept failing
What
me in math. And And I said, so is it really the teacher's fault, or was the student not putting forth the effort? Were they not getting extra help and tutoring? Or were they just frustrated with the degree that they chose because their parents were forcing them to take this program when maybe some other type of studies would suit them better? Where does the fault lie? What can that person do to take control to make it better rather than blaming other people? Or when the boss writes you up for being tardy all the time, well, why is that? And can't you do something to change that rather than just going, that boss kept me from getting a promotion because they make me tardy all the time? And blaming other people, playing that blame game, doesn't help you in any way. And I just realized how much it relates to this show. I didn't even realize it at the time.
cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
But
Cool.
but you're right. It does take that honesty to be able to bravely say, okay, I can handle that, and I need to know
Own it.
that so I can be a better person. Yeah.
Yeah, practicing owning it. Practicing owning is crucial to clearing up karma.
Yes. Very much so.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you have another funny to show us?
Yes, I do. Speaking of,
She found some really. If you came in late, you need to go back and watch the recording of the first 10 minutes of the show. She had some really ripe cartoons that will crack you up. Now we've got Morticia Adams.
and she's slyly, she has that smirky look on her face, drinking a cup of tea, and she says, "That moment when you witness karma in its full glorious splendor."
Splendor.
Yeah,
And she has
that's
that sly cat eye look at the camera and soft grin. Yeah.
And this one I love. The first dog has a sign that says, "May karma never bite you in the ass." And the second dog says, "I'm
I'm
karma."
karma.
I'll
10
give you,
4.
I'll give you one
Absolutely.
more. This one, Dilbert, he's always good for one.
Yes. Yes.
What's the Dogbert was the boss. One of the bosses at one time, he's supervisor, and he says, "I believe in karma. That means I can do bad things to people all day long, and I assume they deserve it."
Yeah, there are plenty of supervisors that have that thought. Yep.
But that also brings up the case where there are people, you have the power Oh gosh, this is gonna get a little deep. Okay.
Good.
If when people are wondering why bad things happen to good people, um, and when they say, "Oh, hey, Ronald, glad you made it," he almost forgot.
He's back.
We're
But a
kind of waiting,
popular, but to
but
bring you back, you said when people worry about when bad things happen to good
good
people.
people. Okay, we're getting into that bad good judgment again, but y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that right
Uh,
there is half the problem. Yeah.
yeah, and but oh, why is this happening to me? Oh my, what have I done? Da, da, da. Okay.
What have I done to deserve this?
Yes, that kind of thing.
That's not how it works.
No,
Yeah.
and but sometimes it could be something smacking you in the ass from something you did back in another lifetime. But okay,
Yeah, usually in another lifetime. Yeah.
yeah. But sometimes I remember hearing this years ago, and I thought it makes sense. People are put in our lives for different reasons. And maybe we asked for a certain lesson or a certain experience. Or
Contracts. Yeah.
so maybe this person that mugs you in the alleyway did that for a
A
reason.
karmic reason.
Yeah, that you don't understand in this lifetime, right? But as the mugger, okay,
Mm.
say that as the mugger,
Mm-hmm.
I saw somebody and I felt that urge to run them down and stick them up and grab their purse or whatever. I could say that person doesn't deserve this and I forgive them for whatever made me think they do deserve this and release that person of their karmic debt because so when like Dogbert says I think I don't hold back because I think people probably deserve it anyway. I give them what they
Right.
deserve. Sometimes we get mad at somebody and we yell at them
Right.
and maybe they deserve it, but we don't have to execute the karmic debt that they deserve.
Because that
We can,
puts you on another karmic wheel and puts you back in another debt when you try to handle someone else's karma.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, yeah, or
There's
yeah,
side karma everywhere.
and
Yeah.
maybe you are there to help them meet their debt. But if you are, you can forgive and recognize that they don't deserve it. Just like when they do something to you, you can recognize the lesson from it and forgive them. You can not give them their karmic debt that was from somebody else
Yeah.
and forgive them as well. You have the power to forgive them for something else.
Can you
Yeah.
bring that back into a nutshell? Because that was almost convoluted.
I know. Okay, let me think. All right, tell me how to explain this. Okay, I'm trying to think of a good example, and I'm not doing good.
That would probably bring it home. You started with one with muggers, but that one got convoluted too.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a little bit kind of out there because you're expecting somebody who would mug people.
Heather says, "Forgive and give it to the highest power to handle."
Yeah, yeah, and that's
that
true
is a
too.
good overarching way to put it.
Yeah, but like if you,
But most people don't have that much self-discipline, Heather, so they need more baby steps to get them there.
okay.
Do you want me to explain what I
Well, what I
shift
was
gears, or you think you got?
1 second, I think I got one.
Okay.
Let me see if this works. Let's let okay, okay. Here we go.
Good.
Somebody who's on death row,
Mm.
and or they're on trial for murder.
Okay.
They're on and in fact, this is okay. Perfect example. Do you know about the story about Matthew? What's his name? Matthew.
That's her female Wookiee noise. Little tiny delicate gurgle growl instead of the big loud raucous one that Chewbacca does. That's what his wife is. She's Chewbacca's wife at that point. She's channeling Mrs. Chewbacca.
The Laramie Project.
The Laramie Project.
Laramie Project was Matthew, and I apologize, I can't remember his last name.
So keep going.
But he was this gay guy that these two guys pretended to pretty much lynched him, tied him to a fence post, left him for dead.
Yes, that I remember. I didn't know his name.
And his parents in the trial, they were talking about the punishment for the two boys, and what the sentencing was going to be for these two boys.
Yeah.
And his dad, it gave me goosebumps when I've watched the play and I've watched the movie several times, and I've read the transcripts and stuff, and it is awesome.
His dad stood up and did what?
His dad stood up and said that he forgave those boys and that they did not deserve the death penalty, or they didn't deserve as harsh a punishment.
Maximum penalty.
Yeah, right. They didn't deserve the maximum penalty, and that they were forgiven, and that he just hoped that they had learned something from their experience, but that to do anything worse to them would defeat
the karma that his son was trying to.
So he released them, even though it wasn't his
choice.
And it wasn't. He released them from their karmic debt. Essentially, it wasn't like an immediate thing of, oh, you did something to me, so I'm going to forgive you. It was, they did it, and the society was going to determine what their karmic debt was going to be.
Right.
And a person associated, but not directly, said they don't deserve it, and I want to release them.
I think he was speaking on behalf of his son.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, that's true, too.
Heather made another wise comment. You might want to throw that one on the screen.
Yeah. Forgiveness is a gift more to yourself than others. Yes. A lot of people think that forgiveness is something you do to make other people feel better.
That's for yourself.
It's for yourself.
It's for both. It's for both.
If you go back in our shows, if you go to our Facebook page or look up the channel on YouTube, Forgive and Remember was a program we did on January 20th of 2021, and we talk a lot about how to forgive and what it is, and that sort of thing. So very, very relevant.
Thank you for the reference back to that. Yeah. Absolutely.
So does that make more sense?
It did. It did. Thank you. I want to try to bring it to us a different way based on a short talk that was also very convoluted in a lot of ways, but I simplified it, and Iris has simplified it even more. But it was, I want to give credit where credit's due. Elizabeth April, in her own podcast on YouTube, May 23rd, called Clear Karma Instantly. All right, Elizabeth April, her channel on YouTube. This is notes and a summary of what she explained. She first explained what is karma, and we've pretty much covered that. It's a cycle of balancing positive, negative, an action and a reaction, and the cycle of action, reaction, action, reaction. And the fact that karma is not vindictive, it's not seeking revenge, it just naturally happens to try to regain balance. When an action happens, a reaction to put it back. In the 3D, people sometimes choose lifetimes to clear up karmic debts. So lots of times, like Iris mentioned, you could be reacting to a situation and you're like, this person's a total stranger. Why am I being triggered? And you find out it's because of stuff that happened in a past life. If you start going digging for what's the source of this, that is common. You can have karma in the moment, but you can also have karma that goes across eons or lifetimes, however you want to explain that. Um, Elizabeth April had an interesting way of explaining what is karma, karma, dealing with karma as a 5D awareness being. And she said another way to put it in quantum terms is the spooky action at a distance. If you look up Albert Einstein, you can find out what spooky action means in terms of quantum physics. But that's a whole nother discussion. We're going to come back to this point and skip over that for now. In 3D, karma is based on physical action reactions. It's a linear process. We're aware of things happening in progression across time. It's a lot slower. It can take lifetimes in 3D. In 5D, because everything is organic, that's good, energetic, vibrational, everything happens way faster. Whatever you think manifests instantly. So you can act and react in a nanosecond. The whole process can happen in a nanosecond instead of across lifetimes or across days, hours, or decades, or what years, or whatever. The energetic cycle of karma trying to get balance happens faster, way faster in a fifth dimensional awareness, which is what Iris has been describing, is a fifth dimensional awareness. Because in the fifth dimensional awareness, karma and actions, reactions, your thoughts are not bound by 3D laws of space and time. This means opportunities to close off karma. Let's say instead of give karma or take karma, call it closing karma. To close the karmic cycle is vast. The opportunities are huge. You can think how to resolve karma instead of doing stuff or going through a whole process of checks and balances across lifetimes. There are two ways to deal with that. And hang on, checking, making sure I'm not skipping anything important. Also, 5D awareness can get you out of old 3D linear karmic cycles. All right. It doesn't have to be just a 5D experience. This is possible now because the 5D awareness, the 5D higher vibration is now here on Earth. It has been exceedingly apparent over the past 2 or 3 years, but very much so since 2012. It has been rising, and you can open and close a karmic incident in one thought. Microsecond, like we said, or faster. Karmically, when you do an action, you leave a wake behind you in the 3D. There's a disturbance, like a boat going through the water. There's waves. It takes time for those waves to close back up and smooth back out. That is closing karma. It's another visual example. However, you can bypass that slow, linear, time-limited fashion that I mentioned just a second ago in basically 2 phases. First phase, you can avoid karma altogether by doing one simple thing that sometimes is not simple. Avoid reacting unnecessarily to any triggering situation you observe. Avoid reacting unnecessarily. Of course, you have to react in necessary situations. It's going to be normal for you to react in emotionally attached situations or in perhaps life-threatening situations. But when you don't have to react unnecessarily, do not. And you have just bypassed the karma for the reaction you would have had, and therefore the action you would have made in response to the reaction, and a whole bunch of karmics and side karmic wheels, cycles that you just set off. Avoid all that. Avoid reacting unnecessarily. We've already talked about that good stuff. All right. But that's one way to handle it. It's not always possible. Sometimes you have to react. Elizabeth Karma. That's really good. Oh my God. I just remembered that girl's name was Karma Elizabeth. That was her stage creation name. Oh my goodness. That just came back. So that's why, okay, that's where that ran together. Apparently, I need to clean something up because she's showing up in my memory. Apparently, there's some karmic to release with her. But anyway, from Elizabeth April, you can get rid of karma instantly by thinking about it, being aware of it, and letting it go. If you like physical stuff, maybe you want to baby step yourself towards a 5D awareness of letting go of stuff, you can write down what's bothering you and burn it on paper. As the ash and flame and smoke releases, the karma is released. That's a baby step technique on the side. However, you can do it even simpler in 5D awareness. She also had a good hint. Don't try to release all your karma, get rid of all your karma, even by thinking about it all at once. Otherwise, you end up with a shitstorm of all the vibrations that you caused in the karma in the first place. All the reverberations will come back on you all at once. It will make you sick as a dog. You will have a lot of shit to deal with all of a sudden. Baby steps, guys. Be present in this moment. What needs karmic work for me right now? In this moment, be present. All right. First, take responsibility for everything that you experience. I mean, everything. Own it all. Everything that happens to you, everything that happens around you. Think Ho'oponopono if you understand that practice. Everything you observe, everything you participate in, talk about, listen to. You don't have to speak at all. Everything you listen to, everything you think about, everything you watch on TV, everything you observe in real life, real time, you are now a part of it, and now you are partly responsible for it. You can own that. Take responsibility for everything you experience and think about. Next step is to...
I want to say hello to Janine real quick. And Ronald had asked a question. Oh, well, he said, oh, he asked a question before that.
Is there a book I can read?
Yeah.
We're going to give you Elizabeth April has actually written books about it, but you have other books?
Well, I was going to say another reference if he wants to, get a better handle on understanding the 5D. We did a show in March 3rd, 2021, Bingo 2.0, and it was it may sound like call letters from bingo, but what are magnetic fields, energy fields, vibration levels, dimensions, the 5D, 3D, 4D, all that stuff we discussed in that one. So that if that helps. But yes, and then
Elizabeth Absolutely. Thank you. All right, so step 1 is take responsibility for everything that happens to you. Step 2, in the moment when something happens, something triggers, a car accident happens, a boss says something nasty, your child triggers you, your parent says something rude, a stranger cuts you off in traffic, and you feel road rage coming on, something. You take responsibility for what's happening. Ask for or learn or understand what is the lesson that karma is trying to show me right now. Very important. Take responsibility, learn or understand the lesson that's being brought to you. Otherwise, that shit's going to come back around again. We know this, right? The third thing is a little more abstract. Neutralize the vibe. Once you get the lesson, neutralize the vibe. That means bring your feelings and emotions to a calmer, more neutral state. Release any personal attachments. There are tons of cool methods for doing that. Deep breathing helps a lot. Drop your shoulders and release as you exhale. Release your attachment to the situation. Shift into becoming an objective observer of the situation till you no longer feel anything about it. Bring your feelings to a calm, neutral state. Release attachments. Become an objective observer. So you neutralize the vibe. And hang on. Oh, I turned the wrong way on the page. Hang on. And that closes the karma. Closing karma. See, there's an estimate that 50% of every day of every hour, of every week, every year. 50% of your lifetime is spent closing karma based on experiences that have already happened to you. It's coming back around so you can close it. That's happening a lot in this lifetime for a lot of spiritual people, light workers, energy workers, indigo children, not so much people born after that. But we're closing up a lot of karma all the time. Okay, we're cleaning house for the next big shift. There's estimate 50% is old experiences and 50% is new experiences you've never had. The more, why bother with all this karma stuff? That's where I'm going with this point. Close karma and you raise the percentage of new experiences for new growth in your life, new spiritual growth, new personal growth. If you're not doing old shit again and again and again, then you're doing new stuff, making space for that. Therefore, it's worth it to close off karma. Objective awareness. Here's a popular question. Wait a minute. Objective awareness, being objective observer. Does that mean detachment without emotion? That is the number one concern and or question that I get. And apparently Elizabeth April does too. And she wanted to point out objective awareness includes feeling emotions authentically, because that is part of the learning and experiencing of being authentically learning and experiencing in the karmics. Remember, stage 2, learn what the lesson is. Experiencing the emotion authentically is a part of the learning process. So you're not skipping that, you're not bypassing that, and you shouldn't try to block that. Feel the anger or sadness or joy or confusion or whatever it is. A lot of confusion experiences happening in this world right now. Be present with that feeling and then experience it, then let it go. It's like a train. Drive through the station, don't stop, keep moving, but acknowledge the station. Blow your whistle. There you go. And keep hard charging through. When you got to go to hell, don't stop, keep moving, and wave to all the cinder blocks that you are not staying to visit. All right. Keep going, keep moving. So objective awareness means experiencing it and keeping moving through it as well. When you no longer think about a situation, it no longer comes to mind, that karma is closed. When a memory does pop up at random or repeatedly, or a person from the past reappears in your life, that is indication that karma is still open on some level somewhere. Maybe not the main karmic show that you had with them, but something somewhere else. That is an opportunity to close it energetically. Do what you can do it fast in just that few minutes. Be present with, okay, we have a karmic situation here. What do I need to learn? Iris's advice, say, show me. Connect to the divine. Stop, deep breath. Relax, let go of the outcome, say, show me, get your lesson, become neutral, get your lesson, learn the feelings, have emotions about it, release that, become neutral, karma is closed. And like Iris also pointed out, once you get used to doing this, you can literally do this in microseconds or a few seconds. Mm-hmm. Okay, when you become that attached to, that connected to your divine self, your divine awareness, and your constant conversation with the divine, wherever that's coming from. That can come from heart too.
And I know something else I wanted to point out, because she talks about, stuff that's happened eons ago and that sort of thing that comes back and smacks you upside the back of the head like a wave.
Yes.
My understanding and my belief and the information I get tells me that if you are going through like a lot of spiritual awakening and you're recognizing a lot of patterns and things like that you go, oh yeah, I can let that crap go now. I don't have to mess with that anymore. You can ask to be released of all karmic debt and lessons related to that, that you have that lesson and no longer need to keep repeating these experiences. Because
That
sometimes we go through things, and because we've been taught about karma, we think we're obligated to live through the karma. Oh, I deserve this. Oh, I was so awful. There's not a deserving. It's
element in
haven't
here.
gotten the lesson yet. And if
Yeah.
you recognize that you have, and you ask for grace and ease, and release the karmic debt and forgive yourself for what you did, then you don't have to suffer the consequences, so to speak.
Are you familiar with the speaker Stefano um, Mateus Stefano on Gaia.com?
You told me about him, but I haven't listened to him
Hispanic
yet.
guy that can remember all of his past lives, and he's now a big international guru. Really genuine person. He talks about exactly what you're talking about. And our current need to seek out grace and ease is, I'm shifting gears. It's kind of related to karma. Humans seeking grace and ease, third dimensional beings, third dimensional awareness beings, to be even more clear, because we're actually multidimensional creatures. But in our third dimensional awareness, we constantly seek out, why do I have this drama and conflict? I want grace and ease. I want to manifest easily. I want to live calmly. I want to be healthy. I want to be happy. I want all this resistance and pushback to stop. He says, careful what you wish for. He says, third D is the only place that you get this much pushback, that you get this experience of duality, of opposite to you, of an opposition to you, of darkness and light, or gray, or whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. Duality pretty much essentially only exists in the third dimension. Beings that go on to 4, 5, 6, 7, they do so over eons. They stay at those levels of peace and serenity and abundance and every grace and ease for eons. And guess what? They get bored
They want to experience,
and
yeah,
they want to come back to 3, because this is where the action is. This is where they experience resistance and another way to look at it instead of just the way that they've seen it for eons and eons, which is nothing wrong with being at peace for eons and eons. All right, totally
yeah.
loved it. I remember from days gone, eons past.
And I think
However,
sometimes we pack our travel bag a little too heavy sometimes for this life.
yes, because we're used to grace and ease. So the higher
And so we're like,
vibration
"Oh, give
you
it to me,
are,
I can take it." Cancel that for me. But,
yeah,
you know,
exactly.
but
If
then
you've been
we get
hanging
here
out,
and it's like, "Whoa, it's been one shitty thing after another." You know,
and we
and it,
signed up for it because we were bored.
yeah,
You can be spiritually bored.
I was
You
like,
can be
"No."
exactly. You can be existentially bored. Lots of times, people that are very, very, very high evolved come back as mentally retarded, or as cerebral palsy, or some kind of like leukemia, some kind of long drawn out cancer process, or birth defect of some sort, to experience ongoing lifetime struggle, because it's entirely opposite of what they've been doing for eons out in these higher dimensions. And the way Mateus Stefano talks about it, he's like, y'all aren't gonna want to hear this, but you're here on purpose because you're bored with that serene life that you keep looking for. And he said, what's going to happen is you're getting hit with a shitload. He doesn't say it like that, but you're getting, like you just said, Iris, getting hit with a shitload, packed our bags way too heavy. We have a ton of crap happening that we're like, this really hurts. This is really bad.
I used to love it when I
We're
could sit in
gonna,
therapy and tell the therapist, like she'd go, "Well, you haven't had it so well in the past couple of years." And I'm like, "Honey, the past couple of years." And I started outlining every major thing that had happened in my life up until that point. And I got, and she's like going,
You're
No
making her
wonder.
twitch. You're giving her seizures.
By the time I was 3, this happened. By the time I was 5, this happened. By the time I was 10, this
Yeah.
happened. This went on for 5 years. This went on for 3
And
years.
guess what? And this is what I was about to say. You're going to go back to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and be totally happy about it for several more eons because of
Yeah,
all the shit you've packed into this life and a few others.
and but
That's
then
why we do it, so that
I
we
also
can buy
started
our
realizing,
serenity.
all these different events prepared me for the next part of my life. And I
Yes.
appreciate and embrace those
Yes.
lessons, those things that happened, because now I can relate to other people better. I
That's a
can,
hologram. That's a holograph. Yes, on a cosmic scale, you saw it reflected from stage to stage inside of one life. That's really wise. Very
and it
good.
just,
Thank you for sharing that.
yeah, it's been beneficial. But then I got to a point where I could say, okay, I'm gonna have fun now. It's a okay, it's me time.
Y'all step back.
Yeah.
So, Ronald made another really great comment here that was very kind of him to share that we can all benefit from if you'll run it for us. He
Uh,
says, forgiveness for myself was a big door that I was able to open, and it allowed me to forgive others much easier.
that's the
Yes. When
perfect
we,
example. If you don't
it's a
take care of
perfect
yourself,
example.
you need to take care of others.
Go, Ronald. You got a cowbell as well as a silver bell. Good job. Yes, Ronald, absolutely. When we stop shitting on ourselves, it's a whole lot easier to stop shitting on everybody else. Yeah, yeah. Forgiveness always begins with yourself. Let's see, Don Miguel Ruiz, his son created a forgiveness ritual, and it involves forgiving yourself as well as everybody else in proximity in a specific simple pattern that's very, very, yeah, I got bells. Yes, you did, Ronald. Um, woo-hoo. So
Bell free because he's happy you got bells.
that's right. That's the bells for the bells. We are bells, aren't we? Southern bells. We were born here, right?
Sometimes
There
I'm a
you go.
dingling.
That does make us a ding-a-ling. It does. So, yeah. So, wrapping up, karma and forgiveness are highly related. I'm glad I didn't autocorrect. Didn't
I'm glad
hijack the last word.
I hijacked the last word.
I got bells. He's glad autocorrect didn't hijack that sentence. Absolutely. That was very kosher of you. But at this show, we'd be cool
Yeah.
with it. But to summarize, releasing karma has a lot to do with forgiveness, has a lot to do with, and you know what? The very first step, taking ownership and responsibility for everything you observe and see and do and feel, that's forgiveness of self. Okay. You have to be okay with yourself to do that. You have to be calm and be teamwork with your number one, which is yourself. Okay. That's a big part of the forgiveness. And then the next part about what's the lesson. Okay, that's you observing. And then forgiveness comes back around again on the third step, becoming neutral, letting go of the emotional attachments, becoming the observer, calming down your feelings, releasing your feelings. That's forgiving of other people and other things. All right, so forgiveness happens on the front end and the back end of this process. Absolutely. Thank you for bringing that word into the conversation, Iris. That was brilliant. Yeah, that was really brilliant. I wanted to ask you one other question, Iris. Was some of the processes you described seem to be evolutions of other stuff you've told me about quantum healing, and especially when you refer to like having conversations with God or the divine and manifesting by just sending it up there and
Mhm.
using terminology like that. I was like, that sounds like her quantum healing on the next level. I'm not saying that's basic quantum healing because it's not.
Yeah, yeah.
It's much more sophisticated than that. But I'm seeing tie-ins to that philosophy, and holy cow, that stuff is universal. That
It
technique
really
is gigantic. It's huge. If you ever get a chance to study quantum healing, definitely do it.
is
Do it.
theta, or you mean theta? You know about
You know what?
theta?
I'm trying to say theta.
Well, it's theta, quantum,
I'm
theta,
trying to
beta.
say theta healing. Yes, ma'am. I'm trying to say theta healing. If you ever get a chance to
Delta
study,
was talking about theta. She's
which is a trademark phrase, theta healing, Vienna Stivel,
Bible. Yeah,
Stivel,
STIVAL.
yeah, Stivel,
Yeah,
is
but
the
it is.
founder of it.
It was really cool because when I took it, I started realizing, oh, this takes that in, and it takes that in, and it's just so so it's like that's why I like it so much. It's because it.
Guess what? Heather Hilton summarized for us, which we were struggling to do earlier before the show. Iris, you read it.
Forgive yourself, forgive others, learn, and let it go.
The first line, own it yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see that because I have a button over it, and I missed the part.
Own it
Own
yourself.
yourself, forgive yourself,
So
forgive others,
others
learn and let it
learn.
go. That's an excellent summary.
That's
Yeah.
over. Now we need t-shirts.
Yeah.
The karma t-shirt, one will be on the front and one will be on the back, and those are the clean definition of karma and the funny definition of karma.
Or I'm done with karma. I'm letting that shit go.
My name ain't Karma. Get out of my way.
Yeah.
Could you pop up that cartoon one more time so they can see what we're talking
Oh
about? This is
shoot.
one of the
I think
funniest ones.
wait a minute. It's gonna take me a
I
second.
may have made a huge request. Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. Usually I can grab it pretty quick, but let me see. Wait a minute. Oh.
Iris is known for finding funny memes that are related to the show's topic. And I'm asking her to bring back one that just had us dying laughing in the first 10 minutes of the show. And we were having so much fun with it. And it's just words. And it
Yeah.
was hilarious. So she's trying to find where it was.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll close right after that.
Yeah, I want to go show one more thing, but then, yeah, it's called karma, and it's pronounced "ha ha, fuck you."
And that's going to be on the front of the t-shirt that I'm talking
Yes.
about.
I love it. I mean,
Hypothetical t-shirt.
I'll have to see if maybe somebody's already made one. But the other thing I want to just mention, we've got we're trying to plan ahead and do better with that. So tonight was the Dead at the Bank of Karma. Next week we're going to be doing a program on honing your own intuition.
Yes.
A lot of people have been asking, how can I do that? The 29th, I'm waiting on confirmation for a special guest. Margot's going to be traveling and trying not to trying to relieve her of her obligation to be on the program because she's going to be pooped.
I'll be on the road, yeah.
Yeah, and then, but I'm waiting to hear from the other person to confirm. So we'll be announcing that. And then on July 6th, we'll be back with readings. So if you would like a
psychic reading,
yeah,
we'll be answering questions.
Yeah, so that's
the agenda
coming up. Yeah. And then we're already planning programs after that. So we've got a good list we're working on, and things are coming. And if you ever have any ideas of something you want to know about, please let us know. Thank you, Heather. We appreciate it. We appreciate everybody that tuned in tonight. Very much enjoyed having everybody and hope it helped you in some way.
You can find us on Spotify and Audible, other Audible type shows like that. But for a complete record, go back in YouTube and Facebook.
In the videos for our
the videos, yeah, and listen to us there.
So
thank you, Christine.
We really
thank you, Nicole, Heather, Janine, Ronald.
Good night.
Namaste. Kim.
Thank you for joining The Eyes of Indigo with Iris Carter and Margot Ross Sears. Music is Arcadia by Kevin MacLeod of Incomptech.com. Licensed under Creative Commons. Visit our Facebook page for broadcast details at www.facebook.com/eyesofIndigo. Show is copyrighted 2022 by Iris Carter and Margot Ross Sears. All rights reserved.